Alright. How's it going, everybody? Dale Wolfhart. Welcome to Modern Warfare 2. Season 1 is finally here, so we're going to be taking a look at everything they've added. This one is a big one, obviously, with the addition of Warzone, as well as Warzone 2, I should say. As well as DMZ and a bunch of other things. For the multiplayer, we're going to start with the multiplayer, and then we'll do a separate video for Warzone, like I normally would, where I normally don't do them both. Warzone is a different playlist from Call of Duty. You get the point. Anyway, we'll first take a look at weapons. So this one obviously is going to be the biggest update of the bunch. It's going to introduce a lot of things that the other one would not introduce. Because I kind of faked this series with Modern Warfare 1 before I started streaming. I would pretend, basically. And I did some series reviews of those, where I'd take a look at the guns, the maps, and the operators, and then I'd pit them against each other. But obviously, this is Season 1. There's a lot of other content, though, on top of just that. And I'll go ahead and pull up the roadmap at some point, in case I miss anything. Although I should not. Let's see here. Call it a duty. So obviously we have blueprint options now. Well, we did before, but we have the stores open and there's more of those there. There's our roadmap. There's our roadmap. Alright. So in terms of new guns, we have the M13B, which I suppose is supposed to be different from the M13 from Modern Warfare 2019. What the fuck? And then I believe we have a new submachine gun. Yes, the Boss P. Or it's the SIG MCX, basically. And I believe that's everything new, correct? Yeah, that's all of our new guns. No new handguns, correct? No. Alright, so well, I don't know why I'm not in custom or private match. Maybe they've fixed this a little bit since the last time. Oh, a lot of new game modes. I haven't played most of them though. In all fairness, I've never really been a big game mode guy. Ah, that reminds me. Since I'm streaming Call of Duty on my own. Where is it? Audio, I believe. Voice chat off. Proximity chat off. Okay. None. Ugh. Alright, that should be good. I'm also going to go ahead and start up a party for myself. Where is that thing? Oh, here we go. That's fine. Options. Invite only. Sweet, so now I won't appear as if I'm talking in-game, so I won't be self-conscious about it when I do go to play in-game. So now let's make ourselves a new loadout here, and we're going to test out. I'm going to make ourselves a little testing one. So we got the M13 Bravo, and the ASP, so this is basically the M13 from the last game, and it doesn't appear to be any different, but it may be. It's part of the Bruin OPS, or the Bruin Ops platform, which of course these are both part of. This is the SIG MCX. This is the SIG MPX. I don't know the submodels and stuff. Anyway, let's take a look here at what we can add. So we got 45 round mag, which looks a lot more like a normal PMag. And we have a 60 round. A polymer magazine that holds that's not polymer. That's polymer. That's not polymer. Normal 5.56 options. Probably the normal options throughout here. Muzzle. Probably nothing unique. Barrel options. We have a slightly longer barrel and then a slightly shorter barrel. Normal laser options, I'm sure nothing's different there. Got some new stocks. This one adds a buffer tube stock, which is kind of interesting. And then we have that, and you can get that the lighter weight stock if you want. And then for the grip options, pretty typical shit. So I take it Bruin is supposed to be this game's SIG, and I suppose I shall check. What else is Sig Sauer? The Raw MG is Sig Sauer. The Reconnaissance Auxiliary Assault Lightweight Machine Gun. Wow. They actually came up with a name for it. That's kind of interesting. And what do we got for the MPX here? We got a 20 rounder, our 50 round drum, some 9mm options, normal options there, run-of-the-mill stuff. We got a slightly longer barrel. Ooh, an integrally suppressed barrel, which I just realized was absent from the M13. It was one of my favorite options on this SIG MCX in the last game, was integrally suppressing it, which was also absent from the M4 now that I think about it. So I'm pretty sure this is the first integrally suppressed barrel that we have seen in the game. As you can get real short on there. For stocks, we can completely remove it and add the shorter stock or same stock options. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of the same stuff because it's the same gun. And I feel like that's going to be consistent with a lot of the updates. I feel like it's going to be a lot of new weapon platforms, not necessarily new weapons. Well, obviously new weapons, but a lot of new weapon platforms specifically. Alright, so we'll go ahead and test that out. In terms of new operators, I can pick from any of them on here, which is kind of interesting. We have these CDL options, home and away. Is Luna new? I don't actually know. I'm not familiar enough with the... I'm pretty sure Luna's new. She doesn't look familiar. So I suppose that's our new operator there. Then we got CDL. Oh, nope, there it is. Zeus is our new operator. Oh, it's just, I don't know. He's a guy, I guess. Kind of pointless, if you ask me, but that's the way it is. So, we'll go ahead and choose from some maps here. So what maps? Any new maps? Those are all old. Shoot House returns from the last game. We'll see if they changed it at all. It actually looks like just Shoot House. Yeah. Just Shoot House. So I suppose we shall see. Let's go. We're going to start the match and we'll see if that changes anything. Why are some of the AI PC and some of the AI controller? So if we look at, yeah, Modern Warfare 2, so we got Shoot House and Shipment was also added, although it's not here for some reason. We've got a new game mode, which is going to be Raid, which will debut in season. A new co-op mission, CDL Mosh Pit. The new Battle Pass system, which is introduced, and I will go over that. Alright, so let's inspect. Looks pretty much identical to the way it was in the last game. How about the MPX? Yeah, very visibly just a submachine platform of the last game.
I'm reloading.
They did change the map. It feels a lot like Pine from the last game. That I'm glad they changed up the appearance of that. That would have been something I would have been a little bit disappointed about if they did not change the way the game looked, or the way the map looked when they re-added it. So I'm glad they at least did that. Obviously it plays identically, but it does look fresh. Even though you can't tell it's the same map, it still feels fresh. Let's try the MCX. Let's try the MPX. We were just trying the MCX. It's kind of unfortunate that they decided to save the MCX and MPX as post-launch guns. I feel like it would have made a lot of sense to have them there upon release. I think it makes more sense as a release gun because it was already in the last game. So it's not like they didn't know the files. This is the exact same gun, but slightly modified.
Back one for you.
It's just slightly modified. That's really about it. So I'm not sure why they didn't just make it a whole new gun, but they didn't. Or why they didn't. And it's especially a missed opportunity because instead of adding this gun in from the very beginning, what they instead decided to do was take a gun that was just adopted as the primary assault rifle of the U.S. military in the form of the MCX Spear, and instead add in the regular MCX. Which would have made a lot more sense. Just like how the last game introduced the brand new SIG M18, or M17 rather. The same gun, just different sizes. But they introduced that gun, which was just recently adopted by the U.S. military as the primary handgun, but then dropped it in the following game, which I just don't really think made sense. I think it would have made perfect sense to introduce the MCX Spear to the series and reintroduce the M17, but that was not the case. Instead, they added a regular MCX Spear with a slightly modified regular MCX, slightly modified rear sight, though. They kind of cut the top off of it, which I don't really like. I really liked the iron sights, the original one. That was one of my favorite elements of it. But at least now it does have a fully modeled spec animation, which is a minor thing, but it's nice. So far it seems like we're not really doing a whole lot of note. We've reintroduced 2 maps from the last game, reintroduced 1 gun from the last game, and then reintroduced 1 whole gun. There's 1 genuinely new gun. I feel like there's not as many as there really should be.
Target
copy that. Tiger 4 inbound.
Die.
Solid hit.
So that's just kind of my thoughts on the whole situation. That they really could have done a better job, I think, with it. I think especially for Season 1, I feel like it should be more fresh content. I mean, it's kind of hard to reintroduce content, because a lot of the time people are just going to see it as redundant, and that they're not actually doing anything new, they're just rehashing it. And, I don't know, maybe Season 1 really would have been the best way to go, because I can't see Season 2 being any more well-liked, if they just reintroduced something that already existed, but I just get the feeling that it maybe wasn't the best. It sounds totally different, though, I will point out. So, that's something, I suppose.
We're getting hit hard.
That didn't work. I'm definitely not upset that they added the MCX, because that's a gun that I did like from the last game, and it was one of my favorite introductions, favorite things that was brand new to the last game.
Mission failed. Return to base.
You know, it was really cool that they introduced the MCX, and 6 Hour as a whole really got very updated, I suppose I could say. So, anyway, we'll go more over the roadmap. Ooh, actually... Oh, okay. So the Battle Pass offers this submachine gun. And something I actually totally missed. The Victus XMR. I'm not sure how I missed it, but that's why we're looking over it again. Oh, and I can actually go to the beginning, or to the other end really easily now, which is kind of nice, I suppose. One of my favorite long-range weapons out there. Like I said, one I totally missed somehow. Where is it? There it is, the Victus XMR, known in real life as the Arctic Warfare. It goes by a lot of names, but it's the Arctic Warfare, made by Accuracy International. Sometimes it's the Arctic Warfare Magnum, or the AUM, the Arctic Warfare Police, or the OP. But it's the Arctic Warfare. Something duly missing, in my opinion, from the last game. However, this is not necessarily an Arctic Warfare in its entirety, because it states that it uses 50 BMG, which is curious. If we take a look at the modifications, we can put grip tape on, the return of grip tape. That is nice, though, that they just swapped grip tape with just grips as a whole. So you can change the barrel if you wanted to, you can change the stock. So you can actually pretty much completely negate the Arctic Warfare-ness of it, and take out the thumbhole stock, which I'm not going to be doing. Change the sights if you want. You can extend the barrel. Got some muzzle options. Magazine, you can change it from presumably a 5 to a 7 or a 9 round. I'm also going to go ahead and modify this for our upcoming match here. Just like I always kind of used to. So yeah, no Integral Suppressor, which is a little bit disappointing. Is there some sort of suppressor option that kind of looks like it would be integral? No, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. That'll work for now. Alright, now we'll go ahead and go to a slightly more sniper-friendly map. What's the most sniper-friendly map here? Probably Tarak. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, let's see if they fixed some of the bugs, too, with, private matches. Like, well, so far it has, because they're not swapping they're not preventing me from adding operators, which I suppose, or, bots, which I suppose is nice. So it looks like the M13 Bravo is unlocked from the start, perhaps? It's not a part of the Battle Pass. I'll have to investigate that. Maybe it's a challenge-based weapon, I'm not sure. The weapon they're adding in season, though, is what I'm very excited for. It's the Honey Badger, and I don't remember the name they called it, but it's the Honey Badger. For those of you unaware, is one of my favorite guns of all time, especially in the Call of Duty series.
On the money.
Holy Lord. Seems to handle decently quick for a 50. It's definitely got some optic range in there. So it is pretty slow, I guess, but I feel like this will be good for Warzone in particular. I'm not a big heavy-duty sniper guy. Oh! That's really nice, though. But this will probably be my preferred choice, because one of the big issues with, like... Hello.
Right in the eye.
I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, inspect, of course. So there is a 50 caliber Arctic Warfare, I believe, out there. Normally the Arctic Warfare is in 300 Magnum. Popularized greatly by CSGO and also Chris Kyle, the real-life sniper. I missed. Bad news bears, yeah. I mean, it handles pretty regularly, but for Warzone, I feel like it'd be pretty good. For multiplayer, probably not. Snipers, for the most part, have really never been a big multiplayer competitor, I feel like. At least not for me. Until very recently, with the advent of the marksman rifle. And being able to, you know, quick scope much easier. That has made that whole market a lot more competitive. And a lot more enjoyable, which this game fortunately does not skimp out on, but... So I can see this becoming a pretty good mainstay of my loadouts in Warzone. That's a yikes. Getting in Warzone... God damn, why is there always two people there? That doesn't make it any easier, does it?
Taking the lead.
Damn it. Gave me a lot of chances, in all fairness. Skill issue. But it is really satisfying to get a kill with this thing, I must say. So I'm not sure why they didn't just add the 300 Magnum one, especially since 300 Magnum definitely seems to be their caliber of choice. Seeing as like almost all of their sniper rifle 100 Magnum, it would seem. So you'd think that would be the one they add, and perhaps they will, as maybe a marksman rifle. They'll add like a more traditional form of it, perhaps. I'm not sure. For I do not know. I could see that being a thing they had, though. The flinch makes it really hard to use, though. I must say, because it completely removes you from the target. Overall, my thoughts on the gun, it's very satisfying when you get a kill, but especially for someone like me who greatly prefers iron sight sniping. Ow. But I'm more of an iron sight sniper for the most part. I just like to kind of run around the map and this gun's not the most friendly for that style, especially in multiplayer, but I could see this being very useful in Warzone, as I've mentioned a few times. So perhaps that's... Oof.
Ready to deploy.
Oof. The one-tap ability of this thing is insane, and it handles much quicker. Oh, that reminds me, actually. I'm pretty sure manufactured by Arctic Warfare is the, AX-50, which was in the last game. This is one of the game's 50 cal options, which is, again, strange, seeing as... chose to add a 50 cal Arctic Warfare, and I will check, obviously, Internet Movie Firearm Database, see if they have anything to say on this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022. See what they have to say about all those while I go ahead and call in.
Target area marked. They're clear to talk.
Some things. Let's see here.
Drop them.
Nice. Hackers International AW Arctic Warfare 50. So that is a gun. That is a real thing. There's the Victus XMR. And the Imperatorium platform. Either due to glitch or error, the Victus XMR name is
Failed.
instead
Return to base.
appended to the MCP-R300 Barrett MRAD. It's worth noting that the RT Warfare 50 was planned for the original Modern Warfare game, but only its code and firing sound sounded similar to the M82A1 in-game. However, the weapon was scrapped and wasn't added to Call of Duty series proper until Modern Warfare 2. So, it is a real gun. On the Barrett MRAD, which is the MCP-R300 in the game. So that's why. Also, not sure why it's got 300, because it's actually a 338. Let's see what they have to say about the M13. So, MCX. 6-hour MCX Virtus, specifically. 6-hour MCX Virtus appears as the M13 Bravo. It's stylized similarly to the Modern Warfare version, with one difference being that it's a shorter barrel of approximately 9 inches. It was added in multiplayer as part of Season 1 content. Yeah, nothing particularly important there. It's just a reintroduction with a slight change. And then the MPX, which is actually notable, was with a stock inspired by the SIG collapsible brace, appears as the BASP. It is Alejandro Vargas's main weapon throughout the campaign and was added to multiplayer in Season 1. So, there you go. You can also make the MPX SD, which is the integrally suppressed one, or the MPX K. If you take the stock off and use the Thunderfire barrel, 4-inch Thunderfire barrel. So, there you go. And then obviously the Honey Badger, like I said, is going to be added at later on in the season, which you'll be able to use, which, as I've mentioned, I'm very excited for. As I'm sure a lot of y'all know, I am a big fan of that gun. So I will be very interested to see it's an ASC and a Q Honey Badger kind of combined, basically. Appears as the Chimera. Befitting its name, the in-game model is a hybrid, which features both the early AAC version and the current Q model. It's briefly available in single player during the opening mission without an integrated suppressor, but it serves no particular uses. There are no enemies to effectively combat with it. It will be available in multiplayer in Season 1 as an in-season reward. So I suppose I shall take a look right now. At the weapons list. Is it available from the start? No, but I'm not sure. Unlocked by defeating the chemist in the radiation zone of DMV and extracting his dropped weapon. Okay, so this is introduced as a DMZ reward, which requires you to play DMZ, however that works, which I suppose we'll do. So it looks like that might be a consistency. So we might be seeing 3 weapons with 2 battle, or 4 weapons per thing, with 2 battle pass, 1 DMZ, and 1 in-season reward, potentially. Do we have another map coming? Looks... Oh, shipment is in season. So the only maps we get are maps that already existed. So, I suppose that's nice. We'll also be getting 3 football players added later. So, for some reason they added... and it's not American football, it's freaking Lionel Messi and Paul Pogba and some Neymar Jr. So, I'm not familiar with soccer. I'm really curious that they added soccer players. I can guarantee you each and every one of these people have never handled a gun before, let alone shot or gunfought with them, but you know, whatever. Who cares, you know? We also get some new bundles, obviously. We're introduced to the store for the first time in this game, of which it just comes with a handful of things. Nothing particularly interesting to me yet, although this M4 is not bad. It comes with a variant of that. And also, actually that's kind of cool too. Alright, that's neat. This one's Eh. Atomic Sunrise, also, eh. So far nothing particularly good. But you get a few things, and you get some operator bundles. Obviously you gotta have your ghillie suit. Greased and camoed. Ooh, this one's for Connor, I believe. This is a Connor skin. I don't feel like oh, maybe I do like it more. I don't like that more, though. So, I'm recruited. It's just a normal skin. And we have some bundles. Again, nothing particularly interesting, at least not to me. This is a very nicely styled AR, but I don't like the camo. Well, that is fancy as fuck, but eh. So, there's your that. They allow you to change the loading screen, although I don't know how you unlock these. It looks like from bundles, and then just I'm not sure how you get these ones. You can change your loading screen, I guess. So, loading screen for what? I'm not sure. And now you can access. Oh, customize is also like right here. Instead of having to go through the sub menu, it's just right here. This is the new Battle Pass style. It's the same general concept, I think, but you look at it slightly differently. So you get the new operator, Battle Pass boost, Myth Maker, which looks a lot like Meth Maker, I gotta be honest. New gun blueprints, and what looks like a watch, perhaps? So it's all kind of segmented now. Although I'm not sure exactly how it's supposed to work, because none of it's in proper order, but whatever. So, but now it's all in different little segments here. You can see where you unlock everything. It looks like the new guns are at A6 and A7 respectively. They are still free. So it looks like per segment you get a certain amount. I'm not sure how exactly you level up from that yet. I suppose we'll find out. It probably said, but I haven't checked. And then there's your top of the line stuff. Obviously it gives you, skins for stuff towards the top there. Skins for the guns that you just unlocked. But I don't know. So far none of it looks particularly interesting. It also slows down the process of looking through everything. That's nice. The 50 cal weapon charm. That's kind of unfortunate that you have to get it through there, because that was one of my favorite ones to use in the last game. So, yeah, still some free stuff, just like last time. To be honest, it's really not any different. They just kind of enhanced, they just kind of changed the style of its presentation. That's really about it. So I suppose we'll get into it. Obviously, you can play just shoot house right now. Make this shoot house a shoot home. I'll be honest, that is kind of funny. Let's see what we got on quick play. Prisoner rescue is new, and knockout is, I mean, it might not be very new. It looks like there's nothing new in there. Ground War Invasion Tier 1. Not sure what that is. Then we got the campaign, and we got co-op. So it looks like nothing particularly new here. So I suppose we'll just jump over to DMZ, which is a war zone. So what's this? Deploy to the Al Mazrah exclusion zone, where operators are weapons free, accept contracts for side objectives, engage with opposing operators and AI combatants, and search for valuable items, all while trying to complete your mission and get out alive, which is obviously different from Battle Royale. Although I'm not 100% sure how. It is, that much I can tell you. So yeah, you got DMZ, which is in its beta. Then we got Battle Royale. Well, both of these are a part of Warzone. So it looks like now, when you're playing Warzone, you have different options. So I suppose I'll make these a part of the Warzone video. We'll just play a couple of matches in here, see if anything feel-wise has changed. For the most part, a pretty... Oh, also RT to open after-action report summary. So that's nice. That's easy to do. Now, I did just notice that. So it looks like in terms of the base game, they really didn't change a whole lot, which to an extent was kind of expected, to be honest here. They added a couple new weapons. Really just 2. With a 3rd soon to be added, because the M13 was just kind of added for the sake of it. Probably just because they were adding the MPX, and they were just like, fuck it, we'll add the MCX while we're at it too, since we already have all the files for that. You know. Alright. Just play a quick round. And I just unlocked the cast-offs, so we'll go ahead and play with that for a little bit. Because why not? Oh. Hello, that went slow start. Very slow start.
Changing mags.
Hello.
On your 6.
So we're just kind of starting. We'll see how far I can take it.
I'm reloading.
Progress. See how the Battle Pass progress works, if it works the same way it did in the last one. I'm kind of curious as to how exactly that works. Whoops. That's annoying.
Changing mags.
Still waiting on a decent... I don't remember the name. It's not called Allegiance, nor is the other one Allegiance. Coalition and Allegiance, but I don't remember their new names. I played Modern Warfare 1 for so long, it's kind of hard to get out of the vibe of it. Switch over, you know what I mean? Also, that gun in the corner there, that is not the gun I am using, let me tell you.
Hostile UAV in the area.
On your 6.
Change when I switch over? Yeah, it does. Now it's not an AR. Hello, where the fuck did you come from? Okay.
Hostile Wilson deployed. Hostile cluster mine active.
Oof. To be honest, this new AK reminds me a lot of the last one. Other than some slight changes in the stylization, it sounds pretty much identical. It looks pretty much identical. Well, it doesn't look identical at all, really. It's a lot less banged up. It's not an AK-47 anymore. That's a pretty notable... You know, it's an AKM. Well, it looks like more like an AK-103, actually. One of the AK-100 series. It's not 47 or 74. Maybe it is a 74. No, it's not, because 74 is 545. So I think it's like a 103 or something like that. Fuck, I thought it would fire. Oh, blam. What the hell?
Hostiles with the cruise missile.
I was like, damn, how the hell is... I thought it was a mine, and I was
Enemy
like, oh
UAV
shit.
overhead.
This thing just ain't dying. Good lord. It just melts me. So since we can't compare it to Season 0, that's not,
Target down.
it's not the same thing. What I will compare it to for now is Season 1 of Modern Warfare. How that changed things. Obviously that introduced Warzone as well. But in terms of the core game,
Reloading.
the operator added was Mara, who is an actual person. I'm not exactly sure what she does. She's a gun tutor. I'm not sure what precisely she does. But she is some notable firearm-related influencer of sorts. Which is kind of why it was really cool that she was added, because now she's a part of the Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare canon. But for the most part, it was... Afterwards, it was seen as a pretty out-of-place addition, seeing as they never went around for adding any other real people as operators. Oh, that's not true. Ronin was added. Although he was a secondary one, he was not a primary operator like Mara was. Whereas Mara was the focal operator of Season 1. Whereas I believe Ronin was added in Season 4 or 5 as a in-season operator. Unlocked through a bundle. So, pretty different in that regard. So, but yeah, one might have expected them to do the same thing there. There are a lot of real-life firearm-related influencers that they could add, and I suppose they're adding some real-life people, but it's football players, soccer players, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They don't really have any relation to it other than just being popular people, being celebrities. They're not really celebrities in any relatable way.
Covering your 6.
So, that's worth noting, I feel, but in terms of the weapons, I'm just gonna bail. In terms of the weapons, the MPX was an interesting one. I wouldn't say one of the glaring omissions from the last game, but I would say it was a notable omission from the last game, and, you know, from the last game to now, that makes sense. What was added to Season 1? Modern Warfare to Season 1. I believe the crossbow was added. Might have this written down somewhere, actually. Where do we have it?
Hostile UAV in the area. The enemy's advancing.
Modern Warfare Seasons. November 21st, 2020 was the last time that was updated. So we had Mara and Nito was the secondary operator. Overall, it wasn't one of the most notable ones to me. Seasons in terms of operator selection, but Mara was an interesting one, even if I never, used her. I didn't buy that Battle Pass either. First one I bought was Season 4. I killed T-Pain. T-Pain. It'd be funny if he was if he was like a streamer that was like, and that was actual T-Pain. First of all, he gives me the Ram 7, the Holger 26, and the crossbow. So they pretty much, for the most part, they added 3 guns per season. 3, and then sometimes they would add a 4th. Whatever. So the Ram 7, which was the TAR 21 or the Tavor 21. Holger 26, which is like a G36 based light machine gun. Which I'm surprised they haven't added the G36 platform. That was a pretty iconic element of the first game. Of not the first Modern Warfare, the original COD 4. But I mean, overall, Season 1 was definitely not my favorite. Season 1 actually only added Olden maps too, Crash, Vacant, and Shipment. So that's 2 times in a row we've had Shipment as a Season 1 post-launch map. And we have Crash and Vacant were the first 2, which were both good maps, to be honest, and maps that I did like playing in Modern Warfare 2019. Whereas this time we're just getting Shoot House and Shipment. Now, Shipment it's consistent with every Call of Duty has Shipment. Every Infinity Ward Call of Duty has Shipment. And Shoot House became a mainstay of Modern Warfare 2019. So they just added a recycled map from 2019 and a recycled map from 2019 and COD 4, and it might not have actually been in Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. Maybe not. But anyway, yeah, Shipment, it was in World War II, I know that much. Shipment was always like kind of Infinity Ward's Nuketown to an extent. Basically not Treyarch's. But, I don't know, I feel like it would have been pretty opportune to have added maybe like Terminal, which was a pretty glaring omission from Modern Warfare 2019 and something I hope to see in this game. Because with all the maps they brought back, like Hard Hat from Modern Warfare 3, Scrapyard from Modern Warfare 2, Broadcast from Modern Warfare 1, they definitely could have, and then Crash and Rust and Vacant. You know, they definitely could have added some other ones. Some other new... But for the most part, I feel like a lot of the seasons got better with time. Like, Season 6 was really good, in my opinion. Did I rank them? Yeah. Season 4, I really liked. Season 6 was really good. Season 1 and 5 were the worst. Season 2 was okay. But if there's anything like that, then, you know, Season 1 was pretty much the worst. The only thing Season 1 beat anybody with was with the weapons, because I thought the TAR-21 was pretty decent. But I suppose it remains to be seen. How this is going to be handled. For now, though, it's just the way it is. So, that's going to do it for the review of Season 1. There really wasn't a whole lot to go over. For the most part, all they added was a lot of recycled content, which isn't that out of the question, I suppose. I think there's a lot of other things. I actually made a wish list a long time ago of guns I would want to see in this game, and let's see so far how that's been stacking up. So they added the so this is going over everything that I possibly wanted to see. The M4A1 I noted is a very likely addition, and that was accurate. Same thing with the M16A4, which I thought was a likely addition. The AKM they did end up adding. The Scar H they ended up adding. The AUG. In terms of assault rifles. Ones they haven't added, the M16A1, which I noted as being very unlikely anyway. Possible blueprint, perhaps. The M27, standard infantry rifle of the U.S. Marine Corps for a long time. And it was in Black Ops 2, but it hasn't been seen since. I did note that as being unlikely, though. AK-12, I noted could be a possible blueprint. They didn't add the AK-12 itself, which I think would have made more sense. Seeing as it's a pretty notable weapon nowadays, and I feel like in Modern Warfare they would want modern weapons, but for some reason they did not add the AK-12. Commando, possible blueprint, and technically you can make the Commando without even without a blueprint. You can make the Commando just with regular M16 parts, more or less. You make something to the effect of one. The Honey Badger they have officially noted, and I actually noted that as being an unlikely addition when I first made this, but that has changed. The STG-44 I noted would be a good One of the things that Modern Warfare 2019 did that I really liked was adding a lot of guns from, what's it called, World War II. And the SDG-44 was one I wrote down as something that might be fun to have now, but in the game. But I still don't think they're going to add it, especially now that there's no World War II guns. It's probably not going to be there. The Galil Ace was added later on in Modern Warfare 2019. It's possible we may see it again. Same thing with the TAR-21. The FAMAS was not in the game at all, which I found interesting. And I prefer specifically the Valerice, which was basically the FAMAS from BL1. I noted it could be a possible blueprint, but they actually haven't added the FAMAS at all. Possible. The FAL was also an interesting omission. It's possible they could appear later. The Vector I noted as being likely, and they did add that. Same thing with the MP5 and the MP7. The UMP-45 was something I thought could be in the game. So far it hasn't appeared, but it was pretty iconic in the original Modern Warfare 2, so it's possible they could appear. And the Papa Shah was my submachine gun of choice for the World War II air guns, but I don't think they're adding that. I noted that as being very unlikely. The SPAS-12 was an interesting omission from Modern Warfare 2019. It was another gun that was pretty iconic in the original Modern Warfare 2. It'd be it'd be quite the shame if they didn't add it. I noted it as likely though. And the 870, which they did actually add. The Striker 12, which was a very popular gun, which was a pretty notable gun in the last game, they didn't add. The M1014 they kind of added in a backwards way. Well, they did really. But there's no Saiga 12, Striker 12, SPAS 12, or Winchester 1887. All of which are pretty notable, other than the Saiga, which the Saiga I feel like this game has a perfect opportunity to add, but for some reason they just didn't. The other three I think are possible, and I think the 1887s would be a great addition to Modern Warfare 2 2022. For light machine guns, we have an M60, which I noted as being very unlikely. An M249 SAW I noted as being likely, but they actually didn't add it. The MG42 and the M1941 were both Modern Warfare, or were both World War II era guns that I would have liked to have seen, but they added neither. The Remington 700 I noted as being very likely. A lever action of some sort I also noted as being likely, and they did add that. They did add an M14. But pretty much everything I said was unlikely they haven't added. The M1 carbine, the marksman and sniper rifles, the M1 carbine, the FN ballista, notable from Modern Warfare or from Black Ops 2, a Mosin, a Kar98, an M1903, and a Lee Enfield, all guns from World War II, and the Kar98 was in the last game, but they didn't add that. They did technically add an AWM. They added an AW50, so I'll note that as a success there. In terms of handguns, there's a lot on the list, and most of them they actually didn't add. I know the Deagle is being very likely, and that did happen. A Glock 17 or 18 I noted as being very likely, and they did add one. I noted an M9 as being very likely, but one did not come with the game, and very likely basically means that I'm almost certain that it will be in the next game. But it didn't. So it goes very likely, meaning I'm almost certain it will be in the game. Likely, meaning it will probably be in the game at some point. Unlikely, meaning I doubt it will be in the game. Or very unlikely, meaning I'm almost certain it won't be on the game. Such as a Colt Single Action Army or a Schofield. I would like to see them, but I don't think they would add them. The P226 I actually noted as unlikely, and they did end up adding them, surprisingly enough. So, Colt Python I noted as unlikely. That was true, but they did add a revolver. I actually noted the M17 as being unlikely, and surprisingly enough, that was accurate. They did not add it. A 1911 though caught me off guard. I would have thought they would have done that. Same thing with a Makarov. The Makarov appeared in the last game, which I didn't think would, but they did actually end up adding it. And I feel like the MP443 Grok would have been a welcome addition. Didn't show up. So, overall, the majority of guns, there's only a few guns that weren't likely that they did actually add that I thought were likely, which is the Honey Badger and the P226. Those are the only ones which are convenient because those are two of my favorite guns from Ghosts, and I will now be able to make that loadout, which I'm very excited for. So that's nice. And I made this back when it was rumored to be called Modern Warfare World War III, because nobody thought they would just call it Modern Warfare 2. They did. Anyway, with all that being said, that is Modern Warfare 2 2022 Season 1. Overall, fairly underwhelming. We got some new content, but in terms of the multiplayer, nothing has really changed. They added Shoot House, which I'm sure will be a big deal to a lot of people, but I'm not a big fan of Shoot House personally. Same deal really for Shipment. I'm not huge on that map either. Overall, the map count, though, is a little bit lackluster. That's really where the game is lagging behind. Anyway, y'all have a good one.